Hello and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and we are hitting it off this Thanksgiving season.
We're looking at vehicles.
We're looking at aeronautical transport devices.
All shapes, all sizes.
Locomotives.
Trains.
Goats.
Cars even.
Hear me out. Camels.
How about a plane? Throw a plane in there.
We watched a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And I've never heard of this movie, really. And boy, howdy.
Yeah.
What a humdinger of a film. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a ride, for sure.
The genre that it has right here on, just the main page I'm looking up, it says comedy / road.
/ road?
Yeah, / road.
Road is a genre?
So it's a road genre, you know. You're just on the road the whole time.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. This movie came out in 1987, and it feels it.
Yeah. Soundtrack definitely gives it away.
Yeah, the soundtrack, but also I love how there's so many little bitty, antiquated pieces of technology.
Oh, yeah.
When they get to the cheap motel and he puts a quarter in what looks like a metal piggy bank safe box, and then all of a sudden,
payphone.
Yeah, and then the bed starts shaking and vibrating, and you're like, wait, what is that? You're like, oh, it's just a massage bed. I'm like, wait, they have that?
Yeah.
That's a quote unquote feature?
Had that,
exactly. Yeah, and it's that, and then of course, when they go to have your credit card on record or whatever, instead of swiping in a machine, they put it in this little device. I've seen these before. Mm-hmm. I think they started to go out of popularity whenever I started to whenever I kind of hit my teenage years.
Yeah.
But they put your credit card in this weird clipboard and swipe the paper across it, and it copies. I don't know. It's weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very strange how all that worked. And
early card technology.
Yeah. All the hustle and bustle of New York.
Sooner or later, it's going to be classified as a fucking period piece, I bet.
Oh, 100%. I mean, already Stranger Things is a really big TV show.
Yeah.
And has a very heavy 80s presence. I think does a really good job of recapturing the nostalgic feeling about it, even though I have no nostalgic feelings about the 80s because I was born in the mid-90s.
You simply know that it is old.
Right. And it just has this
an era of time oft talked about.
Yeah, this
conversation.
Pleasant
It's what most of our movie roster consists of.
Yeah, for real. I mean, of really good movies that are from back in the day that I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this movie was fun.
Funny.
It was the definition of a wild ride.
Yeah. A roller coaster.
At every stop of the way, it was just a wild ride.
Uh-huh.
Never pulling its punches. But
right.
This...
At one point, literally.
Yes, really. This movie, I lump into a certain category of movies. It's hard because, again, a lot of movies. There's a little subgenre, I feel of movies that I notice about certain films, is that there's this. It's almost like the American Dream.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe, and it's the glory of being in New York,
right? And
the glory of being a suit in New York is an important thing,
right?
That it's a lot of times in certain movies, kind of like this or some sort of comedy of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
You got a nice dressed man in a suit who works in New York at some job that he either hates or otherwise, and it's a thing that everyone's oh yeah, this is cool to live in New York, and I'm I would never want to stay in New York.
Why the fuck?
Yeah, why would you want to be
is
there?
He even remotely content in this position?
Right. I understand. It's probably I know it is a beautiful place and it has beautiful aspects of it, but I'm just not a big living on the grid,
right?
Like, and by grid I mean like the downtown grid of like the
like
streets,
the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, like living in a closet of an apartment complex and spending $3,000 a month on it. Like, I'm just not one for that.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Exactly. Like I said, but the thing is, like, if people love that and strive for that and want that, like, I'm like, go ahead, like, do your thing.
Oh yeah.
But and again, I know that I'm also speaking from a different time frame because I think now is different from then.
Right.
But I just have noticed that there's like this period in like I can't even put a time frame on it because I think New York has always been kind of, or New York and Hollywood obviously have been like this strive for this unattainable thing almost for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there's just these certain movies and you'll realize it and like this kind of pattern of like we're starting off in a big city. Who wants to roll the dice? Is it New York? Right. It probably is. And if it is, it's like you got a guy. He's pretty well off. He's in a suit. He hates his job or whatever. It's like, oh, here we go. And it's kind of like this. But it's like, but I'm in New York and I love it. And I love the grind. And
the hustle and bustle.
Cool, awesome,
the city
great.
That never sleeps.
Yeah, and you're running around in the streets yelling at taxi cab drivers.
By consequences, you do not sleep.
Exactly, yeah. But anyways, like I said, so this is one of those movies that starts off like that.
Yeah.
In this very,
idealized vision of New York.
Right, this new American dream, I guess.
Right.
And he is trying to make it home for Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
What
a struggle.
And what
going
a struggle.
From New York to Chicago. Talk about a fucking commute.
Yeah, for real.
He's got his work cut out for him.
Do you do that every day, or is it just like a week in a week out thing?
I wouldn't think so. It's probably just a certain amount of time there, then a certain time home.
I would hope so, because you go there.
I mean, it has to be
right.
Nobody can reasonably make that trip to and from every day.
I wasn't thinking every day. I was thinking more like every week.
Right.
Like you commute in at the beginning of the week, and then of course you commute home at the end of the week.
You got a weekend. You got a week off.
You got a week off. Yeah.
Them's the bricks, Chief.
Them's the bricks. Them's the hard streets of New York.
The hard streets.
Dim's the streets.
Oh man.
In your clean suit in your office building,
right? 20
stories off the ground,
really hitting up the streets.
Yeah. I'm really on the block. You know what I'm saying?
Wearing my fucking Tribly.
Right. I do love obviously the aesthetic, like the clothing design. The nice
reminiscent
jackets and
the classic 40s overcoat and fedora combo that all businessmen and or job seekers sported at the time.
Right. And it always just, I like that look. I like that kind of put together vibe. So hear me out. I'm not shitting on all of it. I just think it's funny, So
it's awful.
It's awesome and awful at the same time. I look good and I'm on the streets.
Right.
I'm on the streets.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So this movie, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but there is like times where the comedy didn't really hit for me.
Oh, really?
Because it just has that little, it's a little cheesy.
Well, yeah.
And again, it's like a late 80s comedy movie.
Right.
And it's I think the predecessor to some bad / good comedy movies in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
And so like it may not be my cup of tea per se, but I didn't think it was bad though. So like there's a few jokes that I just thought was like a little like pandery, like a little, just a little bit. It was kind of like, okay, like haha, I understand what you're doing there, I can't put my finger on one right now, but there's just a few of them where like it's just the dynamic at the beginning where they're like both kind of awkward and they're trying to like get to know each other sort of, but then again you have one character that doesn't want to get to know the other guy,
right?
But there's like this kind of weird,
almost very detached camaraderie.
Yes,
between the two.
It kind of feels forced. I mean, obviously so, because they kind of are forced.
Yeah,
but like with that, the kind of comedy that comes out of it is it kind of feels a little staged and a little not genuine at times. I think that's what I was saying. Is like there, it's still some of it was very funny.
Right.
I think there's just some of it that's like, oh, this isn't like this is a comedy movie. Like, oh, look at me. Like, that's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Which I say, like, it's not really my form of comedy. And I think that's why later in the movie, why I thought one scene in particular was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it broke that mold for me.
Right.
And it felt very genuine. Even though it maybe wasn't, and they were just acting really well. There's a point in time where they're in like a better motel, and they're getting...
These characters' names, by the way, main fellow that we're following, played by Steve Martin, is Neil Page.
Yes.
Works in marketing.
Neil Page and...
Del Griffith.
Played
by John Candy.
John Candy, the one and only.
Mm-hmm.
Put a pin in that for a second.
Uh-huh. I have no pins at my disposal.
I'm holding it here. Don't worry. I got it right here.
The Invisipin.
Yes, the Invisipin. Kevin Bacon makes an appearance in the movie for like 10 minutes.
I swear to fucking Christ, I thought he was going to be like at the very least a side character.
He didn't have a speaking line at all, and he just scoffed at the camera a handful of times and stole a cab. And you want to know what his character name was?
What?
Cab Racer. I'm sorry, Taxi Racer, or I guess both. God. It can be interchangeable.
That's amazing.
Yes. But anyway, so I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, Kevin Bacon? who is this?
He had to have been like a prominent actor at the time still, right? Or
Probably.
Was this like early
definitely.
in his career?
No. I mean, this is definitely like... This is 87. I mean, this can't be...
I mean, I could have sworn...
Hold on one second. When did Tremors come out? I'm not saying that's his big movie or his big break or anything, but...
That's the one I know him for.
It's the same.
That's insane.
The original Tremors came out in 1990.
What the fuck?
So 3 years before that.
Oh my God.
Wow, okay. So, I mean, he probably was still a good actor. I mean, before then, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anyway, it's just funny now to look at that guy. And I was like, oh, who is this cool, like, antagonist character going to be? And he literally never shows up again in the movie ever again.
Somebody took the bacon.
Yep, that's it. Anyways, to go back to the pin that I was holding on to, I got a little carried away with myself and didn't introduce our characters. Obviously, like I said, you have uptight business guy who wants to get home for Thanksgiving.
Right.
Then you have this other guy who's kind of this eccentric personality who's kind of apparently a salesman of some kind.
Right.
And then, of course, they kind of...
shower curtain rings.
Exactly. Which is a weird thing, if I may say. I thought that he was going to open up that big trunk they were just carrying around, and there was going to be a dead body in it or something. I thought this movie was going to take
his wife's dead body.
You're right.
Oh, no.
I just thought it was going to take some, like, dramatic right hook. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez. That would
anyway,
have been awful.
I know, right?
Oof.
So, like, they kind of get stuck because of the weather. They can't fly into Chicago from New York, and so they kind of, like, have this set up of, like, conveniently following each other around to kind of, like, get to this next area.
Several chance meetings.
Yes, to get to Chicago, inevitably. Anyway, to go back to what I was talking about, this hilarious moment, there's a point in time where they find themselves in a little bit nicer motel or whatever, and they're getting drunk off the little bitty, like, shot sample bottles of alcohol, of tequila, rum, you name it, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just having a conversation. And then this is in the point of the film where, like, they have been through some trauma together and have had a chance. They've also, like, fought and, like, you know, had a little spat between each other, and they've kind of sort of made up. And there's this one sequence in particular where, like, the car gets trashed and it spontaneously bursts into flames.
Trashed?
Yes.
You have to go into detail about
that. Well, we'll come back to that. I'm just trying to set up the emotional situation that's going on here in this funny moment. The car gets trashed. It spontaneously combusts due to reasons we'll touch on later.
Right.
And then, of course, they're just sitting there on the side of the interstate, and, of course, they're just laughing at the fact that, like, how do we get here?
Yeah.
And it's a funny moment. But that all kind of builds up to this moment in the motel where they're sitting there, and they're both very inebriated, and they're kind of, like, having this conversation of their life and the things that they've kind of gone through.
Yeah.
And our boy Del Griffith, he sits there and he's like, and it felt very genuine. It felt like a conversation, and it felt like they were possibly a little drunk in the scene or whatever. And so he's sitting there and he's like, boy, those seats were hot, weren't they? Because the car had burst into flames and they drove it into the motel.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought I was cooking. Like,
Felt
I thought
like
I was
a huge Whopper.
He's like, turn me over. This side's done. And he's like, and then of course our
scared to look at my ass. I'm afraid I'm gonna have those little griddle marks.
I was like, what the hell? And then because again, while he's saying this, they're both like genuinely laughing, like it wasn't really planned. And so I just got
shooting the shit.
I got a kick out of it. And of course, they're like, he goes and stumbles to the bathroom, and he's like,
you just hear him laughing.
Oh man,
like
he's just
muffled on the other side of the door.
He's just chuckling to himself. He's like, how did we get to ourselves in this situation? And then conveniently he tries to turn off the light and it zaps him and he,
what wacky circumstances.
Oh man! But that was the part for me where I lost my cool because it just it almost felt like both actors were breaking character.
Yeah.
And for me, I like it a little bit. I know people don't like this whenever people break character in like a comedic aspect, but sometimes for me, not all the time, but if you have an actor or you have this circumstance where improv happens or something funny happens, and you have an actor who like just almost loses composure, but then it makes
just
me
keeps it straight.
Yeah, but it's like it shows that little human side of like, this is funny, and I find this hilarious in this moment right now just as much as you do, and I like that to a degree because I think it's because I've been in that situation before, having done like some improv stuff before, and having to hold that composure and then not being able to sometimes. And so I think it's like that. I had this kind of empathy in that situation where I'm like, I know what you're going through and it's funny.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. It felt like they're just these actors that are kind of playing off of each other. But go ahead and talk about what happened to this car. So they were able to so after not getting on the plane, after getting on a train and it blowing, or not blowing up, but breaking down, and then getting on a bus, and of course, inevitably
the bus takes them to a car rental place. Neil Page is trying to rent a car to use.
Right.
But of course, the bus drops him off at the lot, and it is just not there.
Right.
So he's unable to wave down the bus in order to get a ride back. So he has to walk all the way back to the rental office, and try to get a car. At which point, he tears into this poor receptionist at the counter.
This movie is rated R for that scene right there. He drops the F-bomb no less than 15 times in that one scene, and I think they had a tally of how many F words they can use. And like, okay, well we have
let's just use them all.
We just use them all in this one scene.
Big fuck word.
Yeah. I want an effing Buick and effing Toyota. I want it effing now, and it's like it just kind of was like this
4 fucking wheels and a fucking seat.
Oh man.
Now, of course, the lady doesn't appreciate his attitude.
Of course not.
No one would.
No.
And she asks to see his rental.
His like paperwork, receipt or whatever. Yeah.
And he said he threw it away
in his anger.
He's like, "Oh boy, you're fucked."
Oh man, it's like, but she says it in such a way like, "I got you."
Oh yeah,
I got you.
I've been building that up.
Yeah. I've been holding this one in the chamber for a second.
You've been firing off in a whole magazine. I got one shot loaded, bitch,
and that's all I need to knock your ass out.
Oh yeah. So he walks out of the office, still pissed.
Of course.
Talks to
fuming.
Asks this.
I guess he's a valet.
I have no idea. Yeah.
And then, what are they? They're in Missouri or something?
They're in St. Louis, Missouri at this point.
Wow.
Neil is on his own. He parted ways with Dell earlier. But he asked the guy, I can't remember what he asked him.
I can't remember either.
Oh, wait, no. The dude asks him, "Where are you going?" Neil replies with, Chicago.
Yeah,
It's like, you're in St. Louis, right? It's like, oh, fuck. I just watched this fucking movie. Why can't I remember what they said?
He basically, he kind of lays into him like, "Oh, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I know that." And he says some kind
have
of...
you tried the airlines?
Right, yeah.
You got a free meal. And
right.
It's like, buddy, if I wanted a joke, I would follow you to the bathroom and watch you take a piss. So...
Oh, man, that's exactly what he says. Holy shit.
Now, this person not one to take that lying down, straight up decks our dude Neil in the face.
Right. In a very comedic way.
Right. Knocks his ass flat on the pavement of the road.
Yeah. And then lo and behold,
Dell,
scream!
Mr. Griffith with a brand spanking new rental car.
Yeah.
Almost runs runs him over.
Like some twisted fate.
Right.
Yeah. Even though he's like he finally got away from this guy.
Yeah.
And then here he is. Like,
again,
I almost ran you over.
For
and
like
it's
the third time now.
Shit, I think I got rid of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, they're going on this long road trip. Yeah. And, of course, it doesn't end there.
Hijinks ensue.
Of course. And, as you can imagine, it's late. Our boy's jamming out and dozing off a little bit. So he's jamming out at first, and he's, like, in the car, jamming out to his song, has a cigarette in his mouth, and he's, like, cruising along the highway, flicks out the window, but, of course, as you can imagine, this car
doesn't quite make it.
Because nothing can go right in this movie.
Oh, no.
No, it can't be that easy.
No, it's a downward spiral from second one.
Right. It is a comedy/road movie. So, so it flicks, and it goes into the back window, and it goes into the back seat. Mm-hmm. And there is where it just cooks for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, apparently it's getting hot in the car, even though there's no real, like, fire in the back seat, apparently. Right. I don't know. Anyways. And so he tries to take his jacket off. And this is where, I mean... in true, like, cheesy comedy movie fashion, he gets his sleeve stuck on the like one of the recliner features, I guess. And then, like, he can't get his right arm out of it, and of course, swerving all over the interstate. Yeah. I mean, causing a major scene.
Right.
And then, of course, he's like, tries to get his other arm out. And he's like, okay. And then as he's doing that, he gets it hooked on, like, the seatbelt fingers like that. And now he has no arms. And at no point does he ever think to wake up his companion in the other seat and say, hey, help, I have no arms.
Just, like, stop the car.
And so, like, he is like, I mean, I have never seen a man go so, like, open-legged and, like, and fully put his crotch area into the wheel.
Yep.
Like, just imagine like the bottom part of the circle of a steering wheel, and just imagine putting your left and your right knee at the 3 and 9 o'clock position on the wheel, and you have your whole pelvic region at the bottom of the steering wheel, and you're just like arms behind your back.
Swaying.
You're all over the road, and I'm like, stop the car.
Right.
Just slow down and, like...
At one point, he takes an exit by accident.
Yes.
At another point, like, after he took the exit, he ends up at a stop sign. Of course, at that point, he just fucking screams his head off.
Right.
And rips...
It's almost as if, like...
rips the strap.
It's almost as if he wasn't paying attention to where he was going until that moment. And was like, I'm still driving at highway speeds.
Oh, I didn't stop.
Yeah, and there's a stop sign with, like, a left and a right arrow. Yeah. So you're at a T intersection. You're going to go off somewhere.
If you're not careful.
And then, of course, again, comedy fashion. Slams on the brakes, and we're spinning. 360s.
We got some good camera angles.
Yeah, right.
Like, they went into detail.
Finally comes to a stop just in the nick of time. And then and only then does Neil Page wake up and go,
what's happening?
What happened? And he's like,
oh, we almost hit a deer.
That's also no big deal. It's no problem. And he's like, it's hot in here. You should take your park off. And he's like
yeah,
I should do that. Turns back around and then gets on the exit he just got off of and is going the wrong way on the interstate.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this comedy ensues where he's having this whole banter between this car and the other lane. It's
people on the other side, the right side of the road, trying to warn him that he's going the wrong way.
The correct side of the road.
The oncoming traffic.
They're on the left side, but they're going the correct direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I meant right as in like...
I know. I was just joking.
Freaking... Get off my case!
Yeah, I'm joking. But,
oh, man. Dude, this has to be my favorite part of the fucking movie.
Oh, my God. And you can see, the funny thing is, like, you can see down the highway.
Yeah, 2 big rigs.
The camera,
ominously approaching.
It's almost like it's an animated film. Like, there's a little bit of a hill, so you can't see the trucks, like the 18-wheelers, the big rigs.
Right. Only their headlights.
Only the glow.
Silhouettes.
Only the glow of the peak of the hill. And as they're driving, obviously it looks like they're rising above the ground,
right?
And movie logic, neither one of them is like, you know,
in front of the other.
Right. They're just perfectly
both lanes of the road.
Yes, and I'm like, I hope that would never happen. In real life,
I mean, I guess they're having a conversation or some shit.
But that's what I don't. You have radios for that. But anyways,
that whole radio system is a myth, Ian. Not all truckers are able to speak to each other.
I'm not saying they do. I'm just saying like they're in a conversation.
I know it, but it's just a joke.
I know. But if you're gonna be sitting there and if you're implying that you have two big rigs that roll down their windows and shout to each other across the way, I would hope that you would invest in a radio,
something,
a walkie-talkie system, please.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
several watts between each
sentence. Right. No, they just throw paper airplanes across the way at each other,
writing little notes.
Right. But and again, just like a wall of metal coming down their direction, and they again, because of how fast they're going, and at the rate of travel, we must have gotten the shot of the 18-wheelers a long time ago, like way down the road, because if my math is correct, if two trucks A and car B are traveling at approximately 70 miles an hour, that approach each other very fast. I've been thinking, but
hit someone real soon.
But they are able to have a full-on conversation across the other lane of the interstate for at least 4 or 5 minutes. So it's like, you know, and then of course, in great comedy fashion. Oh, truck!
I love that it starts off silent, like he's out of breath immediately.
Right.
It's fucking a terrifying thing to see. I would imagine just instantly took his breath away.
Right, and instead of like swerving off into like the median or something,
he goes in between them.
Yes,
and in that moment. For what seems like almost an eternity.
Sparks fly.
Bright flashes transitioning between both the driver and the passenger.
This is what I don't understand.
It goes into like full-on slapstick.
Yes,
like
and this is where
skeletons, you see that.
Yes, it's almost like it's almost as if they did drugs beforehand and then were driving down the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Because like as it's like you said, sparks are flying, mirrors are being knocked off, shit's happening. It's bouncing back and forth between their screaming faces and then their skeletons.
At one point, from Neil's perspective, Dale is dressed up as the fucking devil, with a pitchfork.
Like a little comedy devil with like the horns and the tail, and he's like
laughing his ass off.
I'm like, what am I watching?
Oh, it was fucking nightmarish.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. So. And that's where it came to that point in the movie where they're sitting there on this trunk, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
your luggage has flown!
I can't believe this." And then our boy, Dell, turns around just to look at the car. They just look at the car that's on fire or like being engulfed in flames.
Yeah. Moments before, Dell was just like, "It's not too bad. I was expecting way worse."
Oh, yeah, I could buff that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna buff that out. No problem.
No. There is no buffing that out. But yeah, and then he just sits there and is like just content with what's going on. Right. And then I thought that we were going to get like a really crazy moment from Neil. Like this kind of like, whoa, like, you know, double take kind of, again, comedic reaction. But he doesn't. He just looks back at it and then just looks forward again. And it's just kind of like.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's about what I was expecting.
Yeah, I expect that much at this point. Yeah. I thought this movie was really fun, and I thought it was a really...
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a Thanksgiving movie.
It's a Thanksgiving
movie. I had no
movie.
idea.
Yes.
I can't believe... I thought it was centered like more around like Christmas.
Nope.
But it's full on Thanksgiving.
Before we continue on, though, I want to say that there was a great moment, and I wish that I know it's a comedy movie, and I know they don't really want to probably do that, but like there was a great moment with our characters Dell and Neil whenever he like takes the train to like his hometown in Chicago.
Oh yeah, they finally made it back.
Yeah,
after hitching a ride in a fucking.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's
caught Skopsnoggin or whatever.
Oshkonagan? I can't.
Oshkonagan. I don't know.
Oshkonagan. I think is what it was. I can't remember. See, I was hoping you might remember and finish it for me,
yeah.
but that's
It's-
okay. Oshkonagan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
Oshkonagan.
We got it right.
Oh my gosh, it's Oshkonagan.
Yeah. Dude's iffy about people riding in his cab, so he makes them sit in the back with all the cheese.
There's a T-shirt of it.
There's a T-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know what I'm getting for Christmas.
Anyways, so there's a moment whenever they get back, and whenever they do, our main character like goes off and is having this like reminiscent experience.
Exchange a very awkward but yet heartfelt goodbye.
Yeah, but it's like as he's on the train, he's like realizing like he actually kind of likes this guy, and then he starts to put some pieces together, which again aren't really hidden in the movie. Like it kind of makes it seem like
alludes.
It alludes to it a little bit, but it doesn't make it obvious, which I thought was really nice. And then he goes back to like the train station, and our boy Dell's just sitting there, and he's like, "Come on, man! Like,
what are you doing?
What you doing here?"
You said
and
you were
then
going home.
This is when it gets real, and this is what I wish they would have harped on a little more.
Yeah,
like towards the last end of the movie. But I know like it was an hour and 33 minutes, and I would have loved for it to be like an hour and like 45 or something.
Yeah,
or hour 50.
Just a little bit extra,
and just to really kind of unpack a little more of that like emotional side right there, where it was like,
I don't have a home.
Well, yeah, and then of course, and then have this sort of like a back and forth a little more in that moment, because again, like the next thing he says is like, Marie's been dead for 8 years, which is like
8 fucking years.
Yeah, and then that's the thing is like, and so like, and I thought that was powerful, but I feel like it could have been just a little more if we would have teased it out a little more. But I thought it was still great though.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was a wonderful scene, because again, it's then what leads into
the reunion.
Yes, him taking him to his home for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And it's like that was a really cool, touching moment. But there's like this that scene where it's like I felt like I would have loved to have seen like more of like Neil come out in that moment and be like, you know, feel for this now friend that he has, and he's like, why didn't you tell me, man? Like, you know, and then had this kind of like this back and forth.
So much less of an asshole.
Well, that's the thing is it like this like I would have loved to have heard like, why didn't you tell me? And then he'd be like, because I thought you didn't care about me. I thought you didn't want to know that sort of stuff. I didn't want to burden you, or like this kind of like this back and forth, this like playing into the characters a little more. I thought it'd be like super, super cool. And then hard cut to them just like carrying his like big trunk again.
Yeah.
Down in Chicago, back home, it would have made that I feel like a little more like, oh man, that's so cool.
Heartwarming.
Right, yeah, exactly. It would have made this, you know,
feel good film.
It would have made it feel like you would have got at least one tear. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that moment where it's like now, I don't know. But anyway, so, but it had, I loved that progression of like, it's kind of this goofy, it doesn't take itself very seriously kind of movie that like then has some sort of like deep thing beneath the surface. I'm like, oh, that's some good stuff.
It's got a right hook just at the ready.
Exactly, yeah. And then of course it ends on a high note with the family.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the classic. The music swells in the background while one of our main characters smiles and it freeze frames.
Yep.
What was the last movie we watched that did that?
I think the last freeze frame we had was fucking
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh my God, you're right.
Whenever he's like sitting, he goes like, yeah. Dude. And he was like freeze frames at the end. I was like, I hated that ending so much. Gosh, dude. I both liked it and I hated it because it felt like the movie stopped like half a way through. It felt like the movie, it felt like, we won't hash on that again.
Yeah.
It felt like
that. There's a whole episode on that.
Yes. It felt like that movie was like, the movie's not done yet, but we're going to cut it here and call it a day.
That's
like,
all you get.
Wait, what?
See you fucking later.
See you later. Not. Yeah, but anyways.
Oh, it's a good film.
It was a fun time.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. You must go see it.
Again, and I will say
I say go see it like it's still playing in theaters.
Yeah, go pick up a ticket and go see it at your local cinema.
Out now.
The year is 1987. November. Why am I talking like we're in the 50s?
Yeah, for real.
I got a telegram.
A telegram.
I got a telegram, and the new cinema is opening up down the road.
Good Lord.
But yes, this episode is going to air. Let me just see for a second. I'm not going to date us, but I'm just going to check it out.
Theaters near you.
It's actually the week before Thanksgiving.
Oh shit!
But the thing is, like, we watched this movie.
I like how you said you weren't going to date us.
I mean, I didn't.
That's a rough enough time estimate. I
didn't date us that much. There is also a date on the episode. I'm just saying, like, in the actual episode, I'm not going to say it is November blank.
We will never say directly
what date it is. You guys can triangulate the date based off of your metadata.
See, we leave that up to you as a sort of a funny little scavenger hunt scenario.
Yes. If you can guess what day and time we recorded this,
Win a prize.
I'll give you a chocolate cake.
A chocolate cake.
I will personally buy you a chocolate cake with your name on it.
Oh my goodness! Can we do that?
I mean,
I think that'd be pretty neat. I think if anybody's actually willing to do that and tell us, I mean, it's not hard.
I mean, no, it's not.
You just got to be the first one to do it.
If you have listened to this show,
we'll get you a cake.
Hear me out. If you have listened to this show for any length of time, you know we do not record this any earlier than midnight.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean,
right.
We've got the time. We can order somebody a cake. How much does it have?
I mean,
depending on where you are, we're probably not willing to pay shipping costs. I mean, we're just cheapskates.
But you got to think. I think like a nice chocolate cake would go for what, $30?
I mean, at the very least,
I'm willing to buy someone a $30 cake just for a joke.
Dude, they got some good cakes that display on like Baskin Robbins and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh damn, dude.
Again, nice chocolate ice cream cake.
Right. Anyways,
guess the date, win a cake.
Guess the date, win a cake. We sat down with Ethan a little while ago, and we were just wanting to hang out, watch a movie, and chill out and stuff. And I was like, you know what we need to watch again that we haven't, because it's also a Thanksgiving movie.
Yes.
A Scent of a Woman. And we sat down and had a fun time watching that movie.
Fucking love that movie.
And then we had chosen this movie tonight, you and I.
It was just by random chance.
It was that one.
One of the movies that my sister loaned us.
Yeah.
And it just so happened.
But it was between that one and like 2 or 3 other ones.
Yeah, we had shit like fucking Shawshank Redemption.
Right, which I still want to watch.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I want to watch Inception again and do an episode on that.
Enter the Dragon.
Right. You had a really sick Ghost in the Shell movie. I want to watch it too.
I'm going to watch the second Ghost in the Shell.
I do want to watch that. But anyways, so we just happened to choose this one because it was a funny wintertime movie. And then
it could not have coincided any better than it did.
We're not even 10 minutes in. It's like, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Like fucking what?
Excuse me?
We got a week left?
Yeah. And then somewhere in the back of my mind, I remember this time last year, whenever we watched Scent of a Woman.
Did we not know?
No, I think we may or may not have. I say this time last year. It could be. I need to check the backlog. I don't think we actually watched it on Thanksgiving. I think it was kind of more like a holiday episode, like in December maybe.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. But we watched it and was like, this is
a
Thanksgiving movie. And then I had the brilliant idea of like, I should Google what are some good Thanksgiving movies? Because I was like, they're got to be out there. And then, of course, I remember seeing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and telling you, and you were like, I would think I remember seeing that movie or talking about it. And then I never thought about that ever again.
Wow.
Until we
oh my God.
Until we played the movie.
Full circle.
Right. And then we played the movie, and then that title card happened, and I was like, oh shit, I remember
this.
What the fuck? It's like it came to me like a distant memory. I was like, what? Oh my God.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was kind of insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and look. I'm gonna try and look and see, when did we watch Scent of a Woman last? Because that's another great movie. If you're looking for a great movie to watch, you want to talk about an emotional movie. Whoa, woof.
This one will hit you. Hoo-wah.
Hoo-wah. Man, I am looking. I'm looking. I'm looking for more Al Pacino in my life a little bit.
I'm realizing Scarface at the ready.
I'm realizing now why everyone loves him so much. What a cool actor and a cool guy.
Oh yeah.
At least whenever he plays Colonel.
Definitely.
I can't remember what is his actual
Lieutenant
Slade.
Colonel. Yeah.
Slade. What a cool name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Ghostbusters, Gladiator, Labyrinth. Where are we at here?
What episode number is this?
This is I think 85.
Oh my god!
I could be wrong. I don't
we're
know.
only halfway from 90.
I know. Here we are, man.
Oh,
we're approaching episode 100. What are we gonna do for 100, my guy?
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. I think 100 is gonna air. I think sometime in February.
Oh,
I think
February.
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 Did we actually record an episode on that movie?
Which movie?
Scent of a Woman. I could have sworn we did. Here we go. Scent of a Woman. It was actually November 13th.
Oh,
holy
wow.
shit. Yeah, almost a year to the day.
That's perfect.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Uh-huh. A year to the day. It's okay.
It is not.
They don't know the date. It's fine. Nobody gets a cake yet.
Yeah. I'm just I'm leading a little breadcrumb trail away from the actual day, so that way
if everyone, it's not the 13th. Now.
Yes, exactly. So that way everyone's gonna vote the 14th. It's gonna be incorrect.
God, somebody's gonna fucking somehow get into contact with us about that fucking cake. Yeah, we're gonna have to commit.
I just love how it's gonna be like 4 or 5 years down the road. I'm gonna have long forgotten this episode, and someone's gonna
knock on our door. Yeah, where's my fucking cake?
Not even. He's gonna be like, he's gonna message us. He's just gonna DM me on Facebook or whatever, or like Instagram or something. Be like, so actually on this episode, I'm pretty sure it was a blank at midnight.
Quick,
like,
check the record. See if anybody guessed before him.
Right. But yeah. I'm looking for some more Thanksgiving movies. We're also approaching the holiday
Nobody's going to be able to guess because the episode is going to come out the day of, and we're going to be talking about the day it comes out.
It's okay.
It's okay. They'll know for next time.
Right. Anyways. Oh, man, dude. I'm also looking here, and I see there's a wallet in my pocket. And I'm just thinking,
yeah, it's almost time.
It's almost Christmas Gundam time. That, and then there was another thing we were gonna watch for Christmas. Gremlins. We definitely have Gremlins on the catalog for Christmas at some point.
Yes, for sure. That is a December episode. But
we watched Die Hard this past year for Christmas. Die Harder. You're talking about wanting to watch that one.
It's not. It doesn't take place in the Christmas time, but
got it. Okay.
It's still a good movie.
Okay. Well, be keeping an eye on us because we got some good stuff. Like I said, I still want to watch Shawshank Redemption and Inception. So even if nothing else, we do have some really cool movies that I want to talk about.
Definitely.
And I want to rewatch. But anyways, thank you so much for listening.
Thanks a heap.
It has been a while since we recorded because we've had during spooky season, we had a whole bunch pre-recorded.
It feels like it's been so
It feels like
long.
it has been so long.
We gotta stop doing that, man.
I know. And so it was nice to have a whole catalog and a whole backlog.
Having a backlog is nice, but it makes you rusty.
Yes. But for me it kind of gave me like a week off, sort of.
I didn't get my tetanus shots.
He don't have no immune system anymore. But I kind of feel like I had a week off of work for this sort of stuff, so it was very nice to kind of have a little time off. But now I'm like I'm glad to be back, and I think no time has changed for you guys at all, but for me, I definitely
you're stuck in the present.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the future. I'm in the past talking to you in the future. How does that make you feel? Anyways, like I said, I'm glad that we do this. I think this is fun. I miss doing this with you on like all the time. So I just want to do this more. But anyways, thanks again for listening. I appreciate everyone's support. I was joking mostly about the cake, but to be honest, if anybody can guess the date and the time,
we can't joke about.
I was joking, but at the same time, if someone's actually really able to. I got the hiccups, Jesus. Anyways, I'm getting all choked up over here.
Even.
I'm getting choked up over here. If anybody could guess the date and the time, I definitely will buy you a cake. Trust me.
We'll get you a cake.
I will shake your hand and give you your kudos that you deserve, and I'll buy you a chocolate cake or whatever cake you desire. But it has to be less than $30, please.
Yeah. Cakes don't take cake.
Within reason, please. You deserve a reward, but don't be stingy.
Yeah. We'll call it the Take the Cake Award.
Take the Cake Award, yeah. I'll give you, one of these days, there'll be a little ribbon. I'll just give you a little pin ribbon for... Anyways, we're getting too much into this.
Yeah, that's okay. Caught up in the cake.
Yes. If you're looking to find us, it's The Aftermath. You can type us up on all the major podcasting platforms and find us that way. We also have a link tree. Just type in linktree/Ian Wolf, and you can just look at all of our links that we have there to go check out all the different stuff and get in touch with us on those social media platforms. But
have you ever specified how you spell wolf?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
It's WOLFFE.
Okay,
a little special. Yeah, Wolfie, but it's not Wolfie. It's just Wolf, right. Please.
Just think of that one clone commander.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, and so you can find us all in those different ways. You can just type in The Aftermath on anything really, and you can find us in some way, shape, or form. I also heard if you open your window and shout "Dark into the Night," Aftermath, we
will appear
right at some point. A local digital device will start playing our episodes in sequential order.
We will crawl out of your screen.
I didn't agree to that. That's a you thing. That's not a me thing.
Sorry, yeah, that is specific to me.
Right. Dylan will show up and then just bonk you on the head real good. Don't call me, I'm sleeping. Anyways, until next time, thank you so much for listening.
See ya.
Bye-bye.